Hi, good morning. Well, that first recording was a flop. Let's try again. Okay, we're off mute this time. So let's settle in together. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this morning for this beautiful Canna yoga session. I guess I got myself warmed up for you. Hopefully this records fine. This will not be actually the fifth recording I've done that is not recorded properly. So hopefully this one has worked for you. So let's start with our ritual today. Let's start by sitting up nice and tall and grabbing a hold of our canvas and our lighter. I'm going to grab me a sip of water here. Always hydrating, remembering how important it is to hydrate. So I'm going to use my hemp wick here. If you're not familiar with hemp wick, it's kind of a wax cord. You can use it in place of like using your lighter. So one of the great things about it, we use the lighter obviously to light it, or you could also use a candle, right? But why I like hemp wick is because when we just light our lighter, normally we're sucking in butane as we inhale for our cannabis, and this way we can just we light the hemp wick, and the hemp wick does the job for us. It's the flame without the butane. So bringing your cannabis to your lips, making sure you taste that dry hit first. Enjoying what that beautiful cannabis tastes like before we ignite it. And mine's super fruity. I'm smoking on a lemonade. It's called Lemonade from this place called Oasis Smoke Shop here in town. And they had some really great strains this week. I think they're all called Silly Goat is the producer who's making these cannabis strains. So mine definitely has like a lemony flavor, even though I've already ignited it once. We have that lemony flavor, which is really nice. So let's go ahead and light our cannabis together. So draw your cannabis to your lips and ignite. Being mindful and intentional with those first few draws, of course, taking a few breaths in between to allow the cannabis to fill the lungs and not overwhelm the lungs. Bringing a little intention in with each draw, right? What is it that you want to bring from your practice today? What is it that you'd like to bring into your world this week? Just allowing the smoke to fill your lungs. Cannabis is a bronchodilator and it allows the expansion, a little bit more lung space. Now with papers, there's a little give and take, right? Because when we're using a paper, now we're intaking that into our lungs and that's not as healthy. But especially if you're smoking off of a bomb or water pipe or even a pipe, we're getting more of that cannabis into our lungs. And again, it's a dilator, a bronchodilator. So continuing to imbibe as long as you'd like here, maybe pausing the video for a moment if you want to partake a little bit more. Knowing that we'll have that ritual at the beginning of our classes, maybe you partake ahead of time before coming in and then bring in a fresh bowl or fresh joint so you can taste those terpenes together with us. I'm going to take one more hit and then we're going to get ourselves started. So if you need to, go ahead and again, pause the video, pick back up whenever you're ready. So if you have one of these yoga blocks, I encourage you to have it on hand. I love to use props. Excuse me, props are a great way for us to connect with our bodies and connect with the mat a little deeper. We'll start today, if you have one of these bricks or blocks, or maybe you have a towel or a blanket, you can fold that up nice and tight, maybe an extra yoga mat even. Maybe you have a big book, right? Maybe you have an old encyclopedia or an old school phone book laying around or something like that, right? It feels so old. Bring this block or brick or book or strap, or blanket underneath your booty. And it's going to help us sit up nice and tall. You'll already notice that you want to kind of draw your chest up a little bit once you sit up on this prop. Now, you can take the fingertips and move your flesh out from underneath your bum so you can sit up even taller here. Draw your shoulders back and down and allow the palms to fall upward in the mat. Close your eyes, in your lap, and close your eyes. Smile here. Let that smile come from your heart. Just breathe in. Notice when you bring that breath deeper, maybe you want to give a little cough from the smoke. Maybe you notice the expansion of the breath in your lungs, how maybe it feels like it goes a little broader through that lung space. Just connecting with that breath, noticing how as we inhale, we expand, the ribcage goes outward. Oftentimes there's a conversation about expand that breath through the belly, but what we actually do is push the belly out, restricting the breath. So when we think about our breath, we want to think about it opening up from the rib cage out toward the sides of the room, expanding outward. And as we exhale, there's this opportunity to soften, to lengthen, maybe to find a little bit more courage and strength. And then gently bring the hands to the heart. You can draw one on top of the other here, maybe create a little hug by squeezing those palms. Or you can bring the palms together, thumbs find the sternum, creating a little prayer. You decide what's right for you. Drop the chin into the chest, just locking in your intention, locking in whatever it is that you're ready to bring into your life. Smile, know it's already yours. And eye gaze open, come on out, nice work. So move that brick out of the way, we'll come back to it later, so bring it into a space where you have it nearby. And we're gonna start with a cat-cow, so make your way onto your knees and your hands. Knees will come underneath your hip points, and you can measure your hips distance by getting those fists side by side. Place them in between the knees, and then hands come underneath the shoulders, okay? Look back between your thighs, let your shins and toes disappear into two long lines behind those thighs. Then I want you to walk your hands about one hand length farther than you think you need to, and peel your tailbone back in space, okay? This is gonna create a nice long spine here, giving us a extra length to work with. We wanna imagine the crown of the head is also reaching away from that tailbone as the tailbone reaches away from the crown of the head. Rotate the eyes of your elbows forward. This prepares us for things like chaturanga push-ups, right? Those are the ones that hug into our body versus out to the sides, okay? This also creates a nice strong foundation for the hands, right? Oftentimes people will complain about their hands hurting from yoga, and that often is due to them dumping all the weight into the wrists here. What I want you to do is squeeze, like you're holding onto the lid of a jar. Remember, like those big jar lids, like a pickle jar? Maybe you're holding onto something like that, or think about a spider grip or suction cup sensation on the palm of the hand. Nice. Okay, now starting with the tailbone, every time we make this wave back or forward, we're starting with the tailbone. So we want to push down through those toenails, and on the inhale, let your tailbone reach to the sky, let your belly fall down, let your chest come forward between those shoulder blades, really actively pull it forward, and then the eye gaze comes forward, or maybe if you're feeling it, you can lift it up toward the sky. Don't overarch right away here. Even here, we want to think about our sternum pulling down to our belly. It's a very slight sensation, but it's going to save your lower back, right? We don't want to hyperextend that lower back. On the exhale, I want you to push through your toenails, squeeze your tailbone up, round that belly button to the spine, and chin pulls to chest last. We really want to push away with those hands, squeezing into that spider grip. Pushing down through those toenails will help keep that squeeze in the midsection. On your next inhale, press through the toenails, tailbone lifts, belly drops, eye gaze forward or up to the sky. Really peel that collarbone forward between those shoulder blades and push away on the exhale. Tailbone starts. Tuck your chin to your chest last. Squeezing into that spider grip. And inhale, tailbone lifts, belly drops, keeping that sternum to belly connection the whole time. It's an ab activation. It almost feels like you're trying to pull your rib cage up toward the sky. And then round it out, drop that tailbone, arch that spine, chin to chest, push away. Inhale, lift. Drop the belly, chest forward, eye gaze up or forward. You can even have the eyes closed here. And push away on that exhale. Now, give me 3 more with your own breath. I know my breath might be a little quicker or a little slower than yours. Do your own movements here. Inhaling, remembering to start with the tailbone, and exhaling, starting with the tailbone. If your hands are getting a little sore like mine, you can always come onto the fists. So many different variations for modifying where you need to be, right? And wherever you need to be is what's important right now for you today, not for anyone else. Okay, squeeze into that spider grip, find that neutral spine. Good. Now we're going to work into a little bit of a gate pose variation. And so what that means, actually, let's open up the hip a little bit more first. So squeeze into your spider grip and press down through your left toes. On the inhale, kick your right toes up to the sky and keep the leg bent at the knee. Okay, then open up to a fire hydrant, kick the right knee out to the side, and then right knee taps right elbow. Look, we're kicking that right foot in between the hands. Now we find ourselves in a nice low lunge down here. If that left knee is bothering you, you can always take and fold up the mat on the side and put that fold underneath the knee for a moment here. Press down through the big toe mound on the right foot. Start to squeeze an imaginary block. So like one of these blocks is in between the thighs, squeeze it here. And then instantly the hands can come to the hips and start peeling that body up. Press down through the toenails on that left foot and squeeze your right hip back as you peel your left hip forward. Nice job. Really tearing the mat apart with those low limbs. Inhale, reach those arms up, keep the shoulders back and down. Good, hands drop to heart center. Let's rotate our torso just to the right side, squeezing here, holding, breathing, opening up that right hip, twisting that belly, smile, it's just yoga, and unwind. Nice job. Release the hands down. Curl onto your back toes and lift off that left knee. Now push in the hands, peel your right knee in and kick it back and open it up to the sky. Stack your hips here, be gentle. Good, release that right foot down, pedal it out for just a moment. Push into that downward dog and release it down. Find the knees, hips distance apart, unwind those toes, hands are still into the mat, squeezing into that spider grip, eyes of the elbows forward. Other side, press down through the right toenails. Inhale, kick the left leg up to the sky. Toes point up to the sky and keep your knee bent. Squeezing into that spider grip, pushing away, lifting with the left inner thigh. Turn that left knee out to the side, find your fire hydrant, flex your foot. Then tap that left knee at the left elbow and kick your left foot in between your hands. Nice job. So we're finding that low lunge on this other side. Maybe again, you fold the mat over to find cushioning for that right knee if you need. We're pressing into the left big toe mound and we're pressing in through the right toenails behind us. Inhale, hands to hips, come on up. So with your hands on your hips, we want to make sure that we're peeling the left hip back and squeezing the right hip forward. There's that active sensation of hugging that block in between those thighs. Good, swing the arms on up, pressing down through the toenails behind you, pressing in through that big toe mound, looking forward, finding something to stare at before dropping those hands down to heart center, elbows wide, shoulders back and away. Squeeze that block, rotate it to the left, hold, smile, breathe. Twisting that midsection. We're already feeling those hips and thighs. We're feeling that tummy turn on. You should be feeling your heart rate moving. Inhale it back forward. Nice job. Release it down. Hands find that left foot. Shift forward to find your back toes. Lift up. Kick it back. Lift it up. Open up for a small little three-legged dog here. And then release it down to pedal it out in downward facing dog. Nice job. Press away. Find a downward dog here. Shake your head no. Nod it yes. Squeeze into that spider grip. Push away. Stop the nodding. Drop your knees down, back to the floor. This time release the toes and then shift your body weight forward, dropping down onto your belly. So you might need to back your truck up a little bit to find the tummy, but I want your pelvis pushing in. So lift off your toes, lift the pelvis, and then find the entire front portion of your pelvis there pressing into the mat. Press down through your toes and then inhale, lift up. And as you do, peel your shoulders back behind you, peel your elbows toward one another like a grasshopper. And eye gaze comes just to the top of the mat. You don't want to overextend and overreach the head. The crown of the head is reaching in that forward position. So forehead is reaching toward the top of the mat. Exhale to release it down. Nice job. Walk your hands out to the edge of the mat and let your fingertips, so your thumb and your pointer are the only thing on the mat here, and your elbows are going to come up to the sky. Drop those palms down and inhale, lift up. So this time we're creating a smaller back bend, okay? Arms are bent as much as they need to give that pressure. If you come all the way up, maybe your elbows bend to deepen the stretch. But see where you're at. We just got started, right? Then slow it down, lower it down, release it down. Chest to mat, chin finds mat. Nice job. Curl onto your toes. Draw your thumbs underneath that nipple area and gently push away, coming back to the knees. Release through the toes. Knees go wide. Big toes touch. Sink your hips to your heels and let the forehead find the mat. Take a breath. How does that feel in your body? Moving quickly. Right, gets us out of our skin a little bit. Breathe here, finding some depth in your stretch. If this is uncomfortable, you can always take that block in between the ankles and sit on it, or several, right? You could always take this brick or pillow or blanket underneath the chest and allow your chest to spill over if you're not quite there. Just softening the face and breathing here. If you're holding yourself up with the forearms, make sure again that you're walking them a little wider so you can find a little bit more depth, finding a little bit more space in that chest, coming to the mat. Last few breaths here, feeling the belly open up. Maybe you notice how your clothes expand on your back here as you open with that breath. Nice job. Eye gaze forward. Walk those hands forward. Heel onto those hands and shift your body weight coming on forward, bringing the knees back underneath your hips. Let's go ahead and measure so we have a nice strong foundation as we move into our next practice. And let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to turn to the side here. So do you stay where you are, but this way you can kind of watch what's happening with the body. So fists come in between those knees and we get them nice and stacked. Then we walk our hands out just that 1/2 inch longer than we thought we should, right? Look down from the shoulders. We want nice long lines and squeeze into your spider grip. Now look between your thighs. Shins and toes are disappearing, okay? Now press down through your left toenails. Really push down through that left shin. Start to activate that left hip. Then kick your right knee out like that fire hydrant, and then extend your right leg out to the side. So you're coming onto the sole of that right foot. The toes are facing forward, like same direction as that knee, okay? And the arch of the foot is in alignment with that knee, okay? You turn your toe, that big toe in just a little bit, so you can feel the extension, the activation of the outer edge of that right foot. Now, we want to square the hips by squeezing an imaginary block between those thighs again, okay? Start to walk the hands back toward your body and come on up. Push into that right edge of that foot and squeeze that imaginary block between the thighs. So although we can't actually grip one, we can activate and stimulate here by squeezing that imaginary block between those thighs. Now, don't dump the weight. Don't dump the weight. Come on up. Push off of those left toes. So you're pressing into the left big toe, and then you're lifting up from that left knee. So we really want to stack sensation along this left side. You're feeling this through the right inner thigh, wrapping around the outer edge of that right hip. You're squeezing that imaginary block. Maybe the arms come out beside you, shoulders back and down, palms up. Maybe you turn those palms to push away and twisted the torso or tilted the torso, and drop down to those fingertips. Now, you may want to reach over and grab your brick, right? And that way you can use it at any length to find the mat a little closer to you. Find what feels right and start to turn those toes and point, lifting, squeezing that imaginary block just a little bit more. Smile, don't let the head dump, reach it. And release that foot down. Square off those hips. Inhale, come back. Nice job. Hands to the heart. Release it down. Hands find the mat. Out in front. Good. Bring that right knee out to the side and back on down, finding that hips distance. If you need to measure, go for it. Otherwise, we're looking between those thighs, pressing down through the tops of the toes, extending long through those legs, and activation here. Squeezing into our spider grip, moving straight onto the other side, okay? So press up and away, press down through the right shin, through the right toes, and inhale, left knee out like that hydrant. Then kick the foot out and drop down to the sole of the foot. The arch of that foot or the heel of that foot comes in alignment with that with that right knee. We want to already start to squeeze into that pelvic floor, imagining we're squeezing onto that block. And then we want to rotate those left toes in just a little bit so we can start to feel the activation of the outside edge of that left foot, okay? Now, inhale and start to walk yourself back. Squeeze your block to come on up. Start to feel that activation through the outer edge of that left hip, healing in that pelvic floor, shoulders back and down, hands come to heart if you'd like here. Nice, or already start to reach them out to the sides. You want to create a little more shoulder activation. We're peeling that pelvic floor in, really squeeze that pelvic floor, okay? Press down through those toes behind you. Maybe you tilt at the pelvis and drop down. Tilt at the hips. I'm getting all my body parts mixed up. I must have had too much. Inhale, reach that left arm up and open up. Come on to those left toes for an added stretch. Breathe, smile. Nice work. This is it, our peak pose today, okay? Pressing into that left foot, drop it back down. Inhale, reach it back up. Nice job, hands to heart, release it down, hands find the mat, walk those hands out, swim that left leg back, and drop it down. Nice work. Bring those legs together, feet together, and sink your hips to your heels. Drop your forehead into the mat, and swim your hands beside you. Palms turn up to the sky. Let your shoulders drop past your knees. Breathe. Taking a moment here to reflect on whatever you were capable of doing today. Maybe there was something there that you didn't think you could do, but you actually got it done. Nice job. Slowly start to roll it up. Hands come beside the legs, and we set ourselves up for a seat. Nice work. Hands to heart. Give yourself some love here. Maybe say something nice to yourself. Mean it. Grab a sip of water. Maybe you grab a toke of cannabis. And sit it back down to those heels when you're ready. Start to shift it forward, finding your tabletop once again. Bringing those knees, hips distance again. And this time walk your hands out one hand length. So even farther than we were doing before, okay? Squeeze into that spider grip, shift forward, curl onto the toes and lift to find a plank. Push it back for a downward facing dog. Now take this time to pedal it out here, straightening one leg and then the other, working that heel toward the mat one day, okay? It's all right if it doesn't touch. Lots of people's heels don't touch. When we're in our proper downward dog, it's likely those heels won't touch. It's just a matter of the anatomy, right? So pressing into those hands, squeezing into that spider grip, rotating the eyes of the elbows forward and melting your chest towards your thighs. Shake the head no. And nod it yes. Inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky. Exhale, sweep it forward. See if you can tap the the knee to the elbow, and then drop the knee down to the wrist, crossing the body with that leg. We're moving into a little pigeon here. Now I'm going to come to the front of my mat so you can kind of see what's happening. So we're here, we drop it down. Now you slide that left foot back behind you. Now, when you slide that left foot back there, maybe you find that you still can't touch the ground, okay? And if that's happening, there's a couple of different options. The first one is we can take that left leg, so shift to the right, take your left leg and peel it to the side. This is called deer pose, okay? And so the left knee juts out of the side of the hip here. This right shin still becomes parallel. And you can stay right here, maybe working in a couple of circles, finding the openness through that hip here. Or you can, when we do drop down, you can drop down in this side stretch with the, with the side leg out to the side, okay? If you're in that full pigeon, and you just want to go a little lift, you can take your brick, your pillow, your blanket, and place it underneath your cheek on this right side, okay? The support from that brick or block or blanket underneath that right cheek will really help lift and elevate you to a point where you can kind of reach your arms out and find some balance, okay? Those of you, or all of you, who are in that pigeon, what I want you to do is take a look over the left shoulder and find the left toes. You want a nice long line from that back toe up to this left hip, okay? Then square your shoulders back toward that front of the room. Flex your right foot, okay? You want to be able to hold yourself up here and then swim that chest down, reach those arms out in front of you and drop the forehead down. So ideally, the arms are reaching away, but if you come down here and you find that you're supporting yourself with your forearms, it's beautiful. That's okay too, right? Anywhere you need to be to start to find this depth and stretch. Make sure you're flexing that right foot, okay? And if the elbows are underneath you, maybe you just try dropping them away from you, walking them away from the body just a little bit more, just a little bit more, and just a little bit more. Taking a few breaths here, finding forgiveness on this right side. Be working on the male-dominated side of our body. The Pingala is the right side. And with this side, we want to think of any males in our life who could use our forgiveness. Gentlemen, maybe it's you. Ladies, maybe it's the masculine side of you. The masculine side pertains to safety, to money, to finances, to success. So if you're stuck anywhere in those spaces, maybe it's the masculine side of yourself that needs forgiveness today. So you're feeling this through the top of the left thigh, you're feeling this through that right hip. We're actually cutting the circulation off of this right leg so we can bring fresh blood back into this space. If at any time you feel any super pinch or stab, you can always back off. Try using the breath. As you inhale and exhale, you bring fresh oxygen into the body. So make sure that you're breathing too. When we hold the breath, we can find some cramping happening, right? None of that going on here today. Good. Slowly start to walk the hands back toward the face. Slowly begin to press yourself up, lifting up. Nice job. So we're going to shift over to the right, just being really gentle to come out of this. Grab a hold of that left leg and swim it around. Really use that left hand to help, okay? Shift yourself over and swim the left leg across the top. So we're working into what we call Gomukhasana, our happy cow face pose. This is a great pose for opening up that hip once we've done that pigeon posture, right? So ideally we walk the feet toward the edges of our hips here. We can get that calf flesh off the top leg and move it out of the way. And one day, your knees will be one on top of the other, okay? Right now, work to get them there. You may find that you're way over here and that knee's up to the sky a little bit. Maybe you just take and gently push it down. You'll feel this through the top of that left hip, okay? So Gomukhasana, happy cow face pose, also gives us a great opportunity to connect with the soles of our feet because they're just right here by our hands. So if you'd like, you can take the hands, use the center channel of that hand and connect it to the center channel of your foot. This is like connecting that circuitry, right? So now we're connecting the base with the top, connecting those limbs together. Maybe you start to feel that heat already warming the soles of your feet or your hands or both. Feeling that energy coursing through those hands, up the arms, into the heart. Feeling this cycle of energy with this connection of hands to feet. Maybe you close the eyes here. If you're feeling super open in that left hip today, you can also start to drop the torso onto that thigh. Maybe you allow the forehead to drop toward the mat, releasing the chin and just letting go so you can increase the stretch to the top of that left hip. Just make sure that you're anchoring that tailbone down. Don't let yourself like roll forward here. Really push down through those sit bones and push down through those hands. Breathing into it, no super pinch or stabbing sensation. If there is any, back off a little bit. Maybe that means you're right here in your fold. Maybe that means you come all the way out and just sit up nice and tall. Smile, honor yourself wherever you are today. Doesn't matter where you were last week. It doesn't matter where you want to be next week. What matters is right here, right now. Slowly come on back up by pressing through those feet and lifting that torso up. Nice job. We're going to move out of this the way that we came in. Okay, so I want you to shift back over to the right. Maybe find that right forearm. Grab a hold of your left leg and swim it around. Come onto the hands and start to shift onto those back toes. We're coming onto that back foot. Okay, press yourself off, lift yourself up. Right leg finds the sky and opens up before dropping down for a little pedal out in your downward facing dog. Find a nice solid dog here. Press those hips to the sky. Shake your head no. Let go of anything that's coming up. It's okay. It's just yoga. Stuff's going to come up. And not yes. Giving a little thanks. Nice work. Micro bend in those knees so you can lift those hips higher. Inhale. This time the left leg comes up. Shift it forward. Left knee finds that left elbow. Drop it down. We're working into our other side. So swish or push that right leg back behind you. So I'll twist to the side this time so you can see on this side. So you really slide. That's the word. That's the S word I'm looking for. Slide that right foot all the way back behind you. Maybe looking over the right shoulder, finding a nice long line. Don't let it like veer off to the right or to the left back there. You want it in a nice long line with that hip. And then we want to rotate that hip back forward. So again, squeezing an imaginary block, right? One of those cues I say all the time is even happening here, even though we're nice wide-legged, right? Maybe this is a little much for you already. Take and slide that right knee away. Or this time, take that brick and place it underneath your left cheek, okay? Finding a little lift here will help open up that right hip and help you square it toward the front mirror or toward the front of the mat. So used to teaching in a studio with mirror, toward that front mirror, right? Reaching those toes back. Left thigh is parallel with the left edge of the mat. And eventually we start to walk this left shin up to being parallel with the top edge of the mat. This will help open up that inner thigh just a little bit more, but you can keep it as close to the groin as you like, okay? Hands press away, push into the nice edge of that left foot, really flex your foot and reach those arms out. Slowly fold it over that leg. Reach the arms out, forehead down. If you're in the deer posture, it's the same thing, right? So leg is out to the side, we flex that foot, we rotate our hips so they're facing forward, reach the arms out and fold it down, okay? Less intense, right? Still the same posture, we're still cutting off the circulation to the left leg, we're still finding length through the right hip. Everything's still getting to open up here. Drop the forehead down, reach the arms away, hang out here. And breathe. Flexing that left foot, keeping that left knee supported, feeling the openness through the left hip. You guessed it. Female dominated side. This side's called our Ida. And so with the Ida, we want to think of the female in our life who could use some forgiveness, or females, or maybe that female energy within. that could use that forgiveness. So they say that, in case I haven't already said this, they say in yoga that holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die from it. So this is an opportunity to stop drinking that poison, right? Let go of that. It's not like you're letting anybody off the hook. That's not what this pose is about. This pose is about sending out forgiveness so you can move on, so you can stop focusing on the negative parts of it. Let it go. Last few breaths here. And slowly starting to push on up. Coming out. Nice job. So we're going to move into that happy cow face pose on the other side. So I'm going to swim myself over here, but you're going to swim that right leg around, grabbing a hold by the thigh, swimming around to fall on top of the left. And make sure that you're peeling those heels close to the edges of your body here toward those hips so you can sit up even taller. Make sure you're not sitting on the feet and move the flesh out from underneath your bum here, okay? As you sit up nice and tall, eventually those knees will start to stack one on top of the other. In the meantime, you're just working to get those hips to open up into a space where you can. Now, this time you can press into the soles of your feet again if you'd like. Maybe this time you'd like to take and give yourself a little massage, maybe massaging through the heels, the ankles, maybe through the thighs and calves a little bit. Maybe even taking about those glutes, right? So many people don't give a massage to their butt. Those cheeks do a lot of work, right? Not just for sitting, they're used in walking, they're used in bending, they're used in lifting, right? So you gotta love on your cheeks a little bit, right? Massage those glutes a little, massage those thighs a little bit, get a little bit deeper into this. And then if you feel ready, if you feel like you'd like to, you can press the hands into the feet and just gently fold or hinge forward. Just make sure you're working to keep that tailbone grounded down, those sit bones grounded down. Maybe that means you only come an inch. Maybe that means you drop and roll all the way. Not for me today, but maybe you start to feel that openness for yourself. Smile, relax your face, relax your jaw. Last couple of breaths here, just feeling that belly release, feeling that hip open up. And when you're ready, starting to press yourself back on up. Nice job, nice job. So we're going back into it the way we came out of it, right? So grabbing a hold of that top leg, swimming it back around, finding your forearm, coming onto that knee and onto that toe, this time shifting the body weight forward, finding the hands, lifting that left foot back and up to the sky, open it up, maybe reach those toes, and drop it down, pedal it out, bend those knees, move those hips. Shake your head down, and nod again. Nice job. Inhale to lift your right leg up. And exhale to shift it forward, up and through. Walk it up in between those hands if you didn't quite get it there. Nice job. Drop down to the left knee. Good. Hands to hips. Come on up. Back in our low lunge. Beautiful work. Swim the arms up to the sky. Draw your hands down to your chest, elbows wide. And then I want you to just bow to yourself. Good job. Release the hands back down. Curl onto your back toes. Lift that right leg back up and open up to the sky. Now point your toes and reach them toward the front left corner of your room. Then swim them back down. Find your downward dog. Pedal it out. Nice job. Pressing away, finding a nice strong dog here. Lifting up that left leg. Open it up. Then swim it forward, up and through, getting it in between those hands. Walk it in between there if you need to. Then drop down to the right knee. Keep the toes curled. Press into the big toe mound on the left foot and inhale on up. Squeezing that imaginary block. Swim the arms to the sky. Hands come down, palms to heart. Bow. Beautiful. Press away. Release it down. Hands find the mat. Curl back onto your toes. Lift your left leg up. Open and reach. Point that toe and then reach that left toe toward the front right corner of your room. Nice job. Swim it down. Pedal it out. Release down to those knees. Swing your legs around. Find your booty on the mat. Nice work. Now, I want you to walk your cheeks down so you get your feet down to the end of your mat. Okay? Once your feet get down there, I want you to walk them out to the edges of the mat. So it might be a slight little V shape for you. You might be able to go super wide, but if you're compromising the tilt in your pelvis, you need to bring them back in. We want a nice long spine from the base of that torso all the way up to the crown of the head. Flex your feet. Micro bend your knees. Sit up a little taller. Shoulders back and down. Sternum to belly. Nice job. Now take your right arm and sweep it down the side, inside of your right leg as you tilt the torso toward that right thigh. Drop the forearm down on the inside of that right leg and swim your left arm up. This is it right here. If you're really flexible and that left hip is still staying down to the ground, maybe you swim your left arm over to reach for those toes. I'm not doing it today. My hips are super tight from this weekend. Smile. Good. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Torso back to the front. Press down through your heels. Anchor through your sit bones. Shoulders back. Good. Release the left arm down. Let's release both arms down to start so we can open up the shoulders first because we don't want to compromise the shoulders before we move down there. Okay, so shoulders back. Pull the chest forward. Swim that left arm inside that left thigh and then drop the forearm down. You might need to back the arm up a little bit. It's okay. You're going to start to feel your torso opening up here. This right shoulder is already trying to pull back and open, and this right hip is really staying anchored. Flex your feet. Smile, breathe, feel the openness to that side body. Good, inhale, come on back up. Both arms reach, torso twist back to the center, hands through. Just let the feet come together naturally, wherever that may be. Nice job. Now grab a hold of the ankles, don't peel them in. Hinge it forward, bend at the elbows. Maybe use the elbows to push down on those inner thighs. Walk the hands out if that feels right. Dropping down to the forearms maybe here. And breathe. If the tailbone is staying anchored, maybe you fold completely down for the forehead to find the mat or the toes. Good, inhale, start to press back up, walk it back. Nice job. Hands come to the outside edges of the knees, bring those knees in, wrap your arms around and give yourself a great big hug. Forehead beats the knees, maybe you give them a little kiss, just peeling that belly button back toward the spine. And then eye gaze comes back up. Nice job. So I'm going to turn to the side, but I want your feet down at the end of the mat. And we're going to take a slow roll back. So with the knees, with the soles of the feet into the mat, reach your arms out and palms come up. Shoulders pull back and away. Already starting to feel that out? Good. Releasing down slowly, rolling one vertebrae at a time, keeping the soles of the feet glued. And releasing down, kick your feet out. Let the feet come together, let the toes fall away, finding our first Shavasana in our floor practice. So as you find your back here, maybe you reach those fingertips down toward the heels. You can open those shoulders away from the ears. Maybe you tuck your chin to your chest because it does tend to wander. Smile. Find some softness somewhere. Breathe. Now keep the shoulders glued where they are and reach your arms out beside you. Turn those hands down in toward the wall, or excuse me, toward the floor, and keep those inside of the arms nice and long. Start to walk the soles of the feet up so they're a little closer to your booty, but not all the way up. Gently start to windshield wiper from side to side, opening up those hips just a little bit. Give me a couple more times to each side. And then stop in the center. Heel toe walk your feet out to the edges of the mat and let your knees drop into touch. Okay. Now knees come up, neutral position, and exhale both knees over to the right. You should be able to glance up at that left thigh. Make sure that there's a nice long line from the left hip to that left knee, and then release your head back down. Flex both your feet. Just hang out here, feeling the openness of that left hip. If you feel like you could use a little bit more, you can always lift the right foot and place the outer edge of your right foot on the top of that left thigh. Okay. If it's coming to the knee though, I don't want you to leave it there. You can never place that pressure on those joints. We want to allow it to be on the muscle. Okay. Breathing here. Feeling the openness of that left hip into that thigh, into your pelvic floor. And gently release that right foot down if it's up. Everyone press through the feet and inhale, squeeze that imaginary block as those legs come on back up. Windshield wiper from side to side, maybe resetting those feet on the outside edges of the mat. And next time you're over to the left, just drop both knees down to the left. Flex your feet and hang out here for a moment. Even if you want to go on the cross leg, I encourage you to hang out here for a moment and see where you settle. Relax your face. Maybe you take the left foot and drop it on the outer edge of the right thigh, always avoiding the knee. Nice job. Unwind that left foot. Inhale those knees back on up by pressing through the feet. Windshield wiper as you walk those feet on in, and then bring those knees into the chest. Hug those legs around the back side of the thighs. Go ahead and hug those wrists. Heel those knees into the chest and give those knees a little kiss. Release the head and shoulders back and down. Release the soles of the feet toward the mat. This time, walk the feet together. Let the knees fall apart. Back for our Supta Baddha Konasana this time. Allowing the spine to release and reset. Allowing those hips to open up here. You can place the hands on the inside of the thighs if you want a little more today. If you need a little less, take the fists and place them underneath the thighs for a little support. Relax your face, soften your jaw. Maybe you reach the arms up above the head to get a little more zenful. Grabbing for opposite elbows or maybe placing the palms together on the top of the head. And then when you're ready, releasing the hands down to the outside edges of the knees. Using your inhale to close those legs like you're closing that book. Use those hands for help. Good. Heel toe walk your feet back out to the gym floor or out to the floor next to your mat. And windshield wiper by drawing one leg down to the center. And then the other leg down to the center, knee down to the center. One more time on each side. And bringing it back to center, pull those knees into the chest. One opportunity to reset, lift the forehead up to meet the knees, give them a little kiss. And kick those legs nice and long. Release those hands down by your sides. And we're going to take a few minutes in Shavasana, just breathing here, allowing the body to reset, feeling the energy coursing through our limbs, through our hands and feet. Although I haven't seen you, I know you've done a great, great job today. Giving yourself the space and grace to open up, to flow with your body. Remembering to always find a Shavasana that works best for you. And with these last few breaths, just reconnecting with your intention. Reconnecting with that color and that phrase. And if and when you're ready to choose to move, rolling onto one side or the other, bringing yourself on, coming back into that seat, maybe grabbing your brick and placing it underneath your tushy, so you can sit up a little taller. Closing the eyes once you get here, placing the palms in the lap. Focusing on the expansion of your breath outward. It naturally comes back. Knowing with all your heart that you are here for a purpose. Even if you're in the funk of it right now, this is an opportunity for you to let go of that funk and come at it with a little different perspective. Funkiness brings perspective, right? Shows us the difference of what we want versus what we don't. Start to focus on what you want now. Leave behind what you don't. Thank you so much for being a part of this day with me. I hope you have a very blessed day. And I hope that this video finds you in good spirits. If not, I'm grateful to be a part of your journey and finding what you need for yourself. Self-care is so important. Always feel free to reach out if there's anything you need from me, any questions, comments, or concerns. And with all my heart, with all my love, I say to you, namaste. Have a great day.